Not really.
You know what I am? Sexy Christmas fan.
Sexy
I miss
Christmas,
Matt.
yeah.
You know, the most like weird things happen inside this apartment that I live in with my 2 dogs and my wife. One of the weirdest may just be randomly my wife, like getting ready in the bathroom, will just start singing sexy Christmas, sexy Christmas, sexy Christmas time. And I'm like, damn, man, I love you, woman.
That's how you know you picked the right one right there.
Yeah, Samir Daouk, our producer, producing this show all week long, has done a phenomenal job. Says that is not true. Samir, my wife, who thought you were posting on Instagram like a 16-year-old child last night with your 10 stories from a concert. I saw the whole concert of Big Bunny, of Bad Bunny, whatever his name is. Anywho, yeah, LaMarcus, she really likes you. And I haven't seen you in forever, which is why I'm bringing that up. Steve Buchanan, it's good to have you here as well. We're going to talk a lot of baseball because you two know a lot of baseball here on a Friday edition of the Slate. Bukes, what's new, man?
You know, it's funny. I actually messaged Samir last night saying, why don't you just watch the concert with your eyes? That's exactly what I messaged him.
Did you? Yeah.
I swear to God.
It was this morning. We were getting ready and we thought last night, because Lady Gaga's at Fenway tonight. We thought Gaga was there last night. I found out this morning it was Big Bad Bunny from Samir's story. And she's like, why does he post so many like clips of the concert on his story? Right. And I'm like, it makes no sense.
There's got to be some copyright infringement there or something, right? Like you're giving the concert away for free.
You know what is kind of funny, LaMarca, and it's true what Samir just put in Slack. He woke up this morning. His own girlfriend who just moved in with him also said that's ridiculous, like how many stories you posted. He deleted half of them this morning.
I want to know what his thought process was. How did he make like, you know what? This one's good. This one stays. This one gets
right. He went through that and like cataloged all of his stories.
Yeah. They were all pretty similar. There was only like 1 or 2 selfie videos, like he and his cousin, a couple other people, but he had a good time, and we're going to have a good time here for the next 30 minutes or so. You know what? I'm happy for the guy. And he's done a great job producing the Slate all week long. He's rewarding himself with a 10-day trip to London and Paris tonight with his girlfriend. So they're going to have a wonderful time. And we're going to have a wonderful time here on this show. Where do you want to start? Because he put it in the Slate rundown. He wanted to talk about how bad the Yankees are, which I was unaware, Bukes, like this morning, that it's the freaking Orioles here, dude. The Orioles have the best record in the AL East since May 17th. It's who your Red Sox will be taking on tonight through Sunday. But what is New York's biggest issue right now? They won like 2 nights ago, but for the most part, they have absolutely sucked. 4-13 their last 17 games.
Well, they also won 2 nights ago after giving up 3 runs in the top of the 10th inning. Good old Chapman doing what he does. And, kind of now he's like is he the closer now? It kind of feels like maybe, because I know Clay Holmes just went on the IL. So if Chapman's your closer, things aren't going to be getting much better moving forward. But, I was just pulling up some numbers earlier today. Some of the teams that have scored more runs than the New York Yankees this month include the Angels, the Cubs, the Nationals, the Pirates, the Royals. All these teams have scored more runs than the New York Yankees, and we're 19 days into the month of August. It's been absolutely incredible, but this team really has been struggling since the beginning of August, and I think it really just comes down to there's just so many guys struggling at the same time, because this Yankees club really for the majority of the season never went through this. Maybe had a couple guys here and there, like Aaron Hicks has been struggling all season long. He's been struggling for the past 2 years, I think actually is probably fair to say. But some of these guys, for the most part, were just hitting out of their minds and above their means. And with all these guys struggling, now they don't really have to pitch to Aaron Judge, because you got Rizzo below him who's struggling. You got Donaldson below him who's struggling. So now you're taking away their best weapon, kind of stymie him, and go after some of these other guys, because you can do that right now. So I think it's just a big combination of those things right now. But thankfully for the Yankees, they have such a massive lead that they don't have to start worrying yet. If this continues, then it might get a little dicey, which we never even thought was possible. I mean, granted, the Blue Jays are only, like 10 games back, but once upon a time, this was almost 20 games. So
For sure.
it's not time to panic yet, but you can't be playing like this much longer because some of these other AL East teams are starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Lamarca, preseason Yankees, like World Series bettors were already planning their trip to like sports books to cash their futures tickets.
I was one of them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you were seeing green, like in your sports betting apps, you were booking fancy dinner reservations. You were probably going to maybe get an extra shot in your coffee on your morning walk to Dunkin' after you wake up.
Right now is scouting locations for my vacation.
Well, like now those very same bettors, including you, are singing a different tune, are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not overly worried about the Yankees. I think their biggest issue right now is just that they're not healthy. Giancarlo Stanton being out of the lineup is a huge absence, as is Matt Carpenter, who has like quietly been a monster for the Yankees since they picked him up. So losing those two guys, it amplifies the issues that they have at the bottom of their lineup. Now instead of Jose Trevino being your number 7 hitter, he's batting 5th, right? And Aaron Hicks or Estevan Florial is in the lineup every day, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is in the lineup every day. So it's definitely not ideal. The bullpen is probably the biggest long-term concern that they have. But again, I still think they're going to be okay. They picked up Zach Efros, who's a good pitcher, very good pitcher. He's going to share the closing duties, supposedly, with Chapman. They'll go righty-lefty, depending on who the opposing team is going to have up at the plate. So the Yankees are still second in run differential. They trail only the Dodgers. They still have a 9-game lead in the division. There's no reason for the Yankees to be too concerned at this point. If Giancarlo Stanton comes back and they're still not hitting, then it might be time to start panicking just a smidge. But I still think that this is a really good baseball team. They're going to, are they the best team in the AL? Is the Astros the best team in the AL? We'll talk about that in a second, transition. Yeah. But I don't think the Yankees really have any reason to fear missing the playoffs or anything like that.
Well, let's go ahead and let's get right after it. I mean, Steve, right now, Astros shorter odds to win the World Series over the Yankees. So Astros right now plus 425, Yankees plus 450. What's the best bet there?
I mean, I still think at the end of the day, it's going to be the Yankees window coming out of the American League. And you also have to consider, too, this Astros team and the schedule that they have over the next really run of the season is one of the easiest left in the league. The combined winning percentage of the rest of the schedule is at 482. That leaves them with the 5th best schedule for the rest of the season. Only Seattle, there they are, Cardinals, Mets, and Reds have an easier schedule than the Astros right now. So I fully expect them to coast the rest of the way. Like, you look at some of the games they have left: 4 against the Athletics, 3 against the Tigers, 6 against the Angels, going, good Lord, 5 against the Rangers, and 2 against the Diamondbacks. I mean, you're talking about just about 20 games right there against all teams that are sub 500. They only have 42 games left. So they should coast the rest of the season here. But then when you come into the stiffer competition, when you get into the playoffs, then really anything can happen here too. They are definitely one of the more complete teams in Major League Baseball right now. So I have no issue with them if you want to try and take them at plus 425 to win the World Series. But I think when we get to the World Series, I would not be surprised if one or not both New York teams are in there.
Yeah. What right now, Maddie, National League minus 125 to be the winning league here of the World Series, and American League, you can get plus money right now, plus 105. Would you get after that?
No, I think that the National League deserves to be favored. I mean, the Dodgers have been the best team this season. The Mets are really good. The Braves are really good. I think that those 3 teams versus the Astros and the Yankees, you probably deserve to have the NL favored in that situation. I do think that if you're trying to bet one of those favorite teams, that the Yankees are probably the best value at this point, just because their number has gone down while the Astros has gone up. Like, the time to buy the Astros was a few weeks ago, or even a few months ago, not right now when they're plus 425. And I do think the Astros are good. They made some nice additions with Trey Mancini, Christian Vasquez. They're getting Lance McCullers back. He'll start tonight against the Braves. So the Astros are really good. But again, I can't forget what the Yankees did at the beginning of the year just because they've had a rough last 20 games or so.
All right. Would you bet? All right. Let's go winning state here. Just while we're talking about like World Series odds and winning it all. New York plus 210, California plus 260, any other state plus 310. LaMarca.
Yeah, I would not take California on that. I just bet the Dodgers, right? If you're going to do that, just bet the Dodgers because, maybe the Padres make a run, but that's seeming less likely now without Fernando Tatis. So to me, it's you either bet New York or you bet the field. And I do think that the New York bet is kind of appealing, right? There's a chance you get one team in each league. You get an AL team, you get an NL team. So as long as one of the two makes it to the finals, you're live. And if they both make it there, which is a distinct possibility, then you're just put it right in your pocket, baby.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, speaking of California, like Mike Trout is back. Like he's been dealing with this like rib cage injury and upper back injury. He hasn't appeared in a game since July 12th. I mean, 31-year-old, he was batting 270, 24 homers and 51 ribbies in 79 games before he was placed on the injury list. I was back on July 18th, but they're facing Detroit tonight, the Angels. He's never batted against Detroit's Matt Manning. And right now, DK lists Trout as plus 230 to homer tonight. You can go over 1.5 total bases at minus 125, and to have an RBI at plus 115. Do any of those interest you?
I mean, I'm not looking to actively bet Trout, coming off of the IL tonight. To be fair, I mean, he's been crushing left-handed pitching all season long when he has been healthy. He's got a 444 WOBA against him, 265 ISO, and a 196 WRC plus. So if he's going to be doing something against a certain handiness, it's going to be a lefty. But I'm just going to just totally ignore this tonight. I mean, I'm just going to totally ignore the Angel franchise as a whole. Maybe not even just for the rest of the year, maybe just even moving forward, because they just need to let these two players go. This franchise needs a complete reset and go from there, because it's getting to the point now where you have Ohtani, who goes 4 for 5 the other night, or 4 for 4, whatever it was. I think it was actually against Seattle, 3-run home run, triple, and the Angels lose. Like it's the tweet that makes itself. It's the content that creates itself. When Ohtani is doing all the heavy lifting, they still score 7 runs, but they give up 11 in the process because they just can't get anything right. So if Trout's healthy, then of course you can start getting back on this horse here. But at least for tonight, I'm not looking to deal with anything with Trout here. I don't want to see him get re-injured or anything like this in this one. So just ignoring anything to do with Trout tonight.
Okay, Maddie, any interest in any of the props there with Mike Trout? You just kind of want to sit back and watch this guy come, perform and be the face of baseball, or former faces of baseball?
Yeah, I'm just happy he's back. Me too. I get it. I get there's a lot of hatred around the Angels, how they can have these two generational type players and just be completely wasting them. But to pretend that they don't exist, as Steve Buchanan said he will do, it's not fair to yourself as a baseball fan, right? Like Mike Trout, when he's healthy, is still one of, if not the best player in the league. And Shohei Ohtani is right up there too. So I would say just appreciate them and enjoy them. I don't think that this is a particularly good spot to take Mike Trout's overs. Matt Manning has been pretty darn good against right-handed pitching right-handed hitters this season, albeit in a pretty small sample size. So I would rather just enjoy it as opposed to try and profit off of it tonight.
All right. So interesting. Samir just dropped in Carabas tweet. Says, just going back to the Yankees, since the MLB trade deadline, New York Yankees 3-12, Jordan Montgomery 3-0.
It's a great time for the Yankee fans out there, man. They are having a lot.
It really is.
I never understood that trade to begin with. I thought that was such a weird trade on the Yankees side, because really that opened up a solidified spot in the rotation for Domingo Germán, who is, I would take Jordan Montgomery 9 times out of 10 10 times out of 10 when it comes to Montgomery or Germán. And Germán hasn't been pitching well since the trade deadline. So does it even shows right there? But the Cardinals do this thing every year at the trade deadline where they just bring these 2 random starters in, like they did it with Lester, they did it with Happ, and they throw them in the rotation. And then all of a sudden they're pitching like aces. And that's what you're getting with Montgomery. The benefit for them too is that almost that entire division, not that it really matters outside of Milwaukee because no one's in contention, but almost that entire division struggles against lefties. So it's like a match made in heaven for Montgomery because the Brewers are one of the worst teams in the league against lefties. So that was a nice weapon for them to bring in. I think they have like the second worst WRC plus in the league against lefties. So it was a nice spot for St. Louis to bring them in, but I never understood that transaction. And I think even more so now, the Yankees are really regretting making that move.
It was a classic case of just getting a little too cute.
Yeah.
Right? I think they looked at their rotation. They said, we have 4 solid guys. Unfortunately, I'm including Frankie Montas in that, who has been anything but solid. Right. But their thought process was, we have 4 solid guys. Montgomery's not going to start for us in the postseason. Let's go get a really good 4th outfielder that we can deploy defensively or to steal a base. Like, it's a need that we have for the postseason. So let's be aggressive and let's make that trade. But the Yankees have to get across the finish line first. And I think certainly if they could go back and take that trade off the table, they would do so. But, they didn't envision things going the way that they have. So we'll see. I'm still expecting Bader to do some really good things for this team in September and October. But for sure, right now, they are missing Jordan Montgomery.
All right. Yeah. And going back to the Cardinals real quick, Steve, I mean, one of the big storylines here as we close the second half of the season is going to be Albert Pujols, 10 home runs away from 700 here. He's got 690 throughout his 22-year Major League Baseball career, 6 home runs away from tying A-Rod for 4th on the list. Yep. And I don't know, what kind of chance are you giving him right now to become just the 4th player in Major League Baseball's history with 700 or more home runs?
I like it. I think he can do it. I know the timeline is starting to get a little thin, but especially with my consensus that the Cardinals are going to start running away with this division, I have no doubt that they're going to try to get Pujols as many chances as possible, especially in September and bleeding into October. They're going to get him as many at-bats as possible to reach that milestone. I think like it would be such a shame for him to retire and he was at like 697 or 698 or something just obscure like that. So I think they'll put him in for as many opportunities as they have. And if they keep beating up teams like 16-0 like they did the other day, he'll get plenty of at-bats because he'll be able to go and pitch in and relieve some of these guys. But that's the beauty of it. He doesn't have to be a full-time player, but he can still get those opportunities and spell some of these guys later in the game as a DH, because that's the other huge thing too, is that he can DH in these roles in St. Louis like he's never had before. So I think he gets there. I think it's going to be damn close. Like if you told me he lands exactly at 700, I would not be shocked if that's how the story ends there.
Yeah, Maddie. So the Cardinals here have 45 regular season games left. Pujols has hit 11 home runs and 190 at bats so far this season. That's one every 17.27 at bats. So if you want to follow that math here, Matt, that means that Pujols would need roughly 172 at bats over the final 45 games to statistically get 10 more home runs. That's almost 4 at bats per game left in the regular season. Yeah,
I hate to be that guy. I love Albert Pujols, but he's not getting to 700 if this is his final year.
I mean,
he's had 218 plate appearances this season, 11 homers, as you stated. He would basically need to play every day, every at bat, and he would need to continue to hit as well as he has this year. Because that's the big thing, right? Pujols this season has been really good. His best numbers offensively in the past 6 years. So I think if anything, I would be more willing to bet if I had to pick one. I would bet on him coming back saying, you know what? I'm still getting the job done, boys. Like I'm getting it done. I'm crushing lefties. We have the DH now full time. Let me just come back. I'll get my 700 next year. I'm not saying that that's what I think Pujols is going to do, but I think that's more likely than him getting 700 this year.
I mean, Steve, I was going to ask you, let's say, he's with maybe 4 of 700 come the end of this season. Until recently, he gave an adamant answer about potentially playing next season. He says, where I'll be in 2023 is here, ... watching some of these guys play from the stands.
Like I said, like if you end the year and you're like 3 away,
you have to do it, dude.
You have to come back.
And Ross, Mr. 3,000.
Yeah, dude. Hit the 3 home runs. Say you're 3 home runs away. come back, hit the 3 home runs, however long it takes. And that last home run that gets you to 700, you're walking out the field. You don't sit back in the batter's box. Your career is over. That is the best way to do it. Absolutely. No one would fault him for coming back to hit those 3.
Here's what you do. You hit the 700th home run. The bat boy is holding your street clothes at the home plate. You hit it, undress, get back in your street clothes, salute the crowd, see you later, retire. That's how you do it. Yep.
Hell yeah, man. Maddie, I love that idea.
Thank you. Happy to help.
All right, let's get
Albert,
to tonight,
if you need,
boys.
If you want to make me your agent, I'm available.
Okay, where do you guys want to start? We got 20 minutes left in the show. You want to start DFS, Steve, or you want to start Sportsbook right now? What do you want to do? I'm going to let you make the call because you mean a lot to me.
Yeah, we can roll a little DFS. We've talked some Sportsbook heavy stuff. Let's do that.
All right, let's go. Let's do that then. So if I say to you, and let's go with pitchers here. If I say to you, give me a pitcher north of $8,000 tonight, which one is your go-to?
I honestly, I think you got to roll with Kevin Gausman against the Yankees. I mean, until this,
you always make some weird take like that.
Well, okay, no, hold on. I'm getting it.
Let him finish.
I mean, if you want to talk about the cream of the crop, there's obviously other guys there. But if you want to go down to the 8K range, like Gausman against the Yankees, I feel like it is a spot that you can exploit. We talked about the Yankees' struggle so far. Gausman has been phenomenal against his Yankees team twice already. Has had at least 10 strikeouts in one of those starts. He pitches his best baseball away from Toronto. That's where this game is the year. He's got like a 1.6 ERA on the road this season. Gausman's been phenomenal on the road. So I think this is a really solid spot for him here tonight against his Yankees team. I have no issues taking him here. I know LaMarca's going to go with one of these higher priced guys like Nola's going against the Mets. Bass is going against the Phillies. I mean, two guys that have just completely dominated the other team. Both those guys have sub-2 ERAs against the opposing team here tonight. So those are fine options. But Gausman at 8,200 against a team that not only is struggling, but is striking out a ton in the meantime. I like that spot at 8,200.
I mean, is that really that crazy of a take, Maddie, as you anticipated?
No, it's definitely like, I think he's a fine GPP option, right? His ownership should be very reasonable. I think if you're doing it for ownership purposes, it makes a lot of sense. But like, if we're just talking the best pitchers on this slate, you have to start, I think, with Blake Snell. Yeah. He's 9,300. He's striking out 12 batters per 9 innings this season. And he's taking on what is essentially a quadruple A team in the Washington Nationals.
That beat them
by the
last
way,
night.
He just faced them in his last start, and he went 6 scoreless with 10 strikeouts. Like, I'll take that at 9,300. You look at the Vegas data, the Padres are minus 360 and the Nationals are implied for 2.6 runs. Like, it's crazy that this guy, you could pay 11K for this guy with those kind of Vegas numbers and strikeout upside. So getting him at 9,300 is like a crazy steal.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think we talked a little bit about him this morning on the Sweat too. Like, he's been a different pitcher since the start of July. So 8 starts since the start of July, an ERA around 2, has struck out, as you've mentioned, a lot of batters per 9 innings, just a tick under 14. And not to mention, the Nationals have sunk into the bottom 5 in runs scored. And given the trades they made, I don't know. They're likely to stay there, Matty.
Yes, sir.
They were able to pull out the win last night, and that was one of the most maddening betting losses I've endured in a long time.
Is that right?
It was very maddening. Yep.
Why is that? Can you, for anyone who's unaware what happened last night, including yours truly, what happened?
Oh, just the Padres just absolutely stunk. And somehow they weren't able to hit off of Anibal Sanchez, who's like 98 years old. Had like a over 7 ERA on the year. Like, it was barely even to get out of the 5th inning, but somehow the Padres could not touch that man last night. He had 3 scoreless innings, no hits allowed through the first 3 innings. That's maddening. That should be illegal, especially against the Padres. Just stuff like that just shouldn't happen. So I was just very upset last night. That's all.
Yeah, I know. You know what that is? That's the curse of Eric Hosmer, trading away Eric Hosmer.
Literally one of the worst players in Major League Baseball. Correct.
Dude, nothing triggers you more than when we bring up Eric Hosmer. Let's go for a cheaper pitcher here. Bukes, I'll throw this out to you because I know you're a Seattle guy. Where they're facing the A's tonight. Go down to Cole Irvin.
No.
Come on. Because, and I'm bringing this up because he's been stellar at home in Oakland's pitcher-friendly ballpark too. So his ERA at home, Steve, 1.66. And I know the A's don't provide a lot of offensive support here.
No.
But the Mariners are 20th in runs scored. And their starter, your starter, Marco Gonzalez. Ooh, yeah. He has not been good. 5.10 FIP.
I like that take.
Yeah.
I studied a little bit today, boys.
Marco Gonzalez is this year's version of Yusei Kikuchi. Like, we want nothing to do with you. You need to get off this Mariners team because you're the only blemish on this roster right now, and you're holding the whole team down. Like, I have no faith in him tonight, even against the Oakland Athletics, who have scored like 3 runs the entire month. Like, it's that bad right now. Irvin's a fine option, but I mean, I'm not going to toot his horn because he's going against the Mariners. So if you want a Cole Irvin take, you can ask LaMarca, or you can, throw more stats out there. I want nothing to do with him because I don't play pitchers going against the Mariners because that's not very nice. So I'm not playing Cole Irvin. If LaMarca wants to talk about it.
It seems like a guy, if you wanted to go under 8K, he's a solid option. You could go with him. I mean, any other cheaper options out there you think could produce some points for DFS lineups? Let's go.
I have one if I can speak on it, if that's all right.
Well, sure. I just wanted LaMarca to react to the incredible facts and numbers that I just dropped.
Yep, that's right. Go ahead.
It's wonderful. I hadn't really thought a lot about Irvin. I was thinking more about Gonzalez on the other side, just because he's so cheap, pitching in Oakland, which is a really good pitcher's ballpark, but Irvin might make more sense. I mean, those home numbers, they don't lie.
Right? Yeah. Bukes, I love you so much. Who is your cheaper pitcher than in DFS?
I was going to talk about Patrick Sandoval going up against the Detroit Tigers. I mean, you want to talk about an offense that's going nowhere. The Detroit Lions, I'm in football mode.
Yeah, we all are. And if you've been watching Hard Knocks, which I have enjoyed through 2 episodes.
Yep. The Detroit Tigers are a team that just has been putrid against lefties. 292 WOBA, 89 WRC plus, 23.4% K rate. Was on one of the higher end of the league. Sandoval is not going to blow you away with some of his stuff or anything, but if he ends up coming away with just under 20 DraftKings fantasy points or whatnot, I think that's more than fine for him at 7,200. So I think on the lower end tonight, I think Sandoval is someone against the Tigers is a value you can use on this slate.
I mean, hell yeah, I would almost start every night whoever's facing MLB's worst offense. I mean, the Tigers, Maddie, are like a lock to finish last in runs scored and team OPS. Like, they're just not good. It's been a devastating year in Detroit.
Historically bad offensive numbers. And the one thing I like about Sandoval that you can't say about some of these other cheap pitchers tonight is he's a strikeout guy. He's got 9.5 strikeouts per 9 innings this season. He was at 9.7 last year. So he has some swing and miss in his arsenal. So you factor in a great matchup, a really good price tag on him at 7,200. I think he is the de facto cheap option. He's not going to sneak up on anybody tonight. At this point, people know you play the guy who's facing the Tigers, but I think that this is a good spot for him for sure.
All right, Maddie. So we got 14 games on this main slate tonight. When we talk about dudes who can swing good wood, give me a pricier hitter tonight who you like, and we'll get to value plays here in just a moment.
I'm gonna pivot because that's what I do. We have to start by talking about the San Francisco Giants.
Okay.
Who are headed to Coors Field, and the DraftKings pricing algorithm is like they're about to start a 3-game set with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Okay.
It is absurd. No one on the team is priced above 3,900 tonight. Their leadoff hitter is 2,400. Their number 4 hitter is 2,800. Like, it is stupid how cheap these guys are in a Coors Field slate. It's almost kind of making the slate unfun for me because you kind of just have to play them. There's no way to really get around it. Like, they're too cheap to avoid. They're implied for more than 6 runs. They're taking on Jose Urena, who has been lit up at Coors this season, particularly by left-handed batters. And you look at the Giants, most of their best batters are left-handed swingers. So it's just a really hard spot to fade. I'd be interested, like me and Meiselman talk a lot on our Tuesday show about eating the chalk and why you should almost never do it at hitter. But I think tonight is a slate where you kind of have to.
Okay. I mean, and even over like on the sportsbook, that game has the highest total on the slate tonight too, Bukes. Giants, Rockies, total currently at 11. But you seem to agree with everything he was spitting off about the Giants.
I mean, it's stupid. Like who's sleeping at the wheel? And you know, whatever department it is, whatever algorithm it is, who is tinkering with it? Because this is just absurd. But LaMarco's right. Like it changes the whole dynamic of this slate, that it's almost so good that you have to eat the chalk, but almost like, do I fade it because these guys are going to be like 50, 60, 70% owned? Because it's ridiculous how cheap these guys are. Like, why would you ignore Brandon Belt at 2,800 batting cleanup at Coors Field against some bum like Jose Urena, who has like a K9 of 3 on the season? Why would you ignore Jock Peterson at 3,900, who's batting second, who can absolutely mash the ball against someone like Jose Urena? So it's one of those things that you really have to think about. Do you want to just go ahead and eat the chalk and try to differentiate yourself somewhere? Or do you want to dare to fade this tonight and try to go elsewhere, because all these guys are a value and a half? Is really what it comes down to. It's absurd. Like, you think they were facing Jacob deGrom tonight. Truly, that's what I would expect if they were going up against the Mets or the Dodgers, like LaMarca said. So huge decision here. I'm going to have at least some of these guys in my lineup, but so is everybody else when they're making their lineups tonight.
Is it a total that you would target on the DK Sportsbook? Again, it's the biggest one on the slate, Bukes, at 11.
I probably would. Yeah. I mean, the Rockies are the best hitting team at home against lefties, and they're going up against Alex Wood, who has just not been the same guy that we saw last year. He's really been struggling as of this year. Jose Urena, like I said, pure contact pitcher, does not strike guys out, does not miss bats by any means. Like, I truly think his K9 on the year is around 5, if I'm correct on that. So there's going to be a lot of contact in this game. 2 clubs that hit the opposing pitcher well. So 11 is a lot of runs, but there should be a lot of runs in this game. If I was going to do anything, if I felt good about it, I'd probably take the first 5 over, which I'm guessing is at 6, because I think both these guys are going to be out of the game early, and that would mean they're probably hitting that around that total to begin with.
Okay. So LaMarca, then over on the DK Sportsbook, a total you like tonight, team total here could be a game total. Is there one that you would prefer to discuss right now?
Let's talk about my new favorite team, apparently, which is just so funny to anyone that knows me, but the New York Yankees.
It is. We all know you because you're a Mets guy, right? For anyone who may be new to the program.
The guy who defends the Yankees, but I'm taking the under on 8 runs here. I think Steve laid out a great case as to why Kevin Gausman should be able to keep the Yankees lineup at bay. I think that Jameson Taillon, while he is clearly not the same caliber of pitcher, he should be able to do enough against this Blue Jays lineup that is still without George Springer. Taillon's got a sub-4 ERA for the year. I just think 8 with Gausman on one side in particular is just too big of a number here.
Yeah. Bukes, what do you think about that? You agree?
Yeah, I'm totally with him on that one there. I think that 8 is just a little too high here, so I would totally be on the under on that one. You notice it's minus 120 on the under, so there is obviously some action going on there, but I would certainly be on the under on that one. If I can just throw one out here too as well.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that Mets and Phillies is at 8. Where is the offense going to come from on both sides here with Bassett and Nola? Like, these teams throughout the year, the under is 8-6-1 between the Mets and the Phillies. They scored a whopping 10 runs in those 3 games they played last week combined. Like, pitching was the story of that series. And then you have another genuine pitching matchup going tonight with Bassett and Nola. Nola's been great agained the Mets. Bassett's been great against the Phillies. Both teams against each other are hitting no higher than 196 against each other. So this was at 7.5 this morning too. Now it's up to 8. So more than happy to take under on 8 for this one here. I think that's definitely going to be a game that I wouldn't be shocked if it was 3-2 or 2-1 once all said is done. And both bullpens, if the Mets are leading this game, it's over. If the Phillies, yeah, exactly. Get them out.
Maddie, do you agree with Steve's analysis there? You being a Mets guy, Mets/Yankees guy now. You're a fraud.
Yeah, I'm just an ambassador for New York baseball. Yeah, I'm a little bit more concerned about Chris Bassett keeping the Phillies off the board than I am Aaron Nola. The Mets, while they have had a good offense all year, it's kind of just based off the fact that they have a lot of guys who work counts and put the ball in play. And they're not the same team at this very moment because they're just dealing with some injuries. So you've got Michael Perez in the lineup tonight. Granted, he's just one guy and he's batting ninth, but major question mark. Brett Beatty, while there have certainly been some encouraging signs in his first 2 games, he's still a rookie facing one of the best pitchers in baseball. Tyler Naquin, he got off to a hugely hot start for the Mets and hasn't had a hit in like a week. So it's just a lineup that has a bit more question marks than usual. So I'm fine with an under 8, but again, it wouldn't shock me if the Phillies got to Bassett for a few.
All right. So how about like Mets to score first here then, guys, plus Phillies to win? That's plus 320 at DK. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't screw with that type of stuff.
I know you don't. You like to shoot it straight there, don't you, partner?
I do.
Hey guys, any other bets, any other props that you like to on the DK Sportsbook ahead of this 14 game slate that first pitch will be set in just a little more than an hour from now, Steve?
I'll tell you a bet I really like tonight. Is taking the Dodgers run line at -130. This Marlins
special. Stevie special.
Explain what a Stevie special is.
You take the run line for the team that's like the biggest favorite on the board, Emerson.
Oh,
I would call it a square wager, but I like to call it a Steve wager.
Well, we'll see if Billy can make some kind of open for this then.
Now, to be fair, they're not the biggest favorite on the board. That belongs to the Padres.
Sorry, you're right. You're right. My bad.
So we'll call
odds
this
are subject to change.
They're only minus 260 on the money line.
So to be fair, this is we'll call this a rectangle bet. But if I'm being completely honest here, the Marlins offense this month has been absolutely putrid. They have played 16 games this month. They're averaging 2.1 runs per game in those 16 games. They scored 34 runs in the month of August. It's the lowest in the league. And then you have the Dodgers, who are the second best team in the league, behind the Orioles, mind you, on the run line. 73 and 44, good for 62% of the season. Miami's one of the worst. So it's a square bet. Sure. I mean, or we'll call it a rectangle bet for tonight. It is. But I'm not worried about chalkiness. I'm not worried about ownership when it comes to betting. I'm looking to make some money. So I am taking the Dodgers at -1.5, -130. Call it whatever you want, but if it cashes, nobody cares. So that's my mentality on that.
You're darn right.
Maddie, anything else before I ask you who's going yard?
I'm just going to say that I am now officially all in on the A's tonight against Steve's Mariners.
Yeah.
Earl Irvin does not deserve to be a plus 115 dog in this pitching.
Hell yeah. There's my guy. Okay. So let's wrap this show up here, boys, with who is homering tonight. So call your shot. Give me a home run prop here. LaMarca.
I'm going with one Tyler O'Neill for the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals are a team that I like tonight. They're taking on a left-hander in Tommy Henry, making, I believe, his 4th start in the major leagues. And Tyler O'Neill, is a guy who has historically hit with great power against left-handed pitchers. So give me Tyler O'Neill to go yard.
All right, Bukes, talk to me, Goose.
I'll just go with Byron Buxton going up against Martin Perez tonight. Buxton in that leadoff spot against Perez. His power numbers against lefties are just absolutely off the charts. Has an over 300 isolated power against lefties on the year. Now, Perez is someone who does induce a ton of ground balls. He is very, very good at that. But Buxton, I think, is just, you can just put him on a whole different level here. Batting in the leadoff spot, I have no issue with that. There gives him an extra, hopefully at least an extra at bat in this one here. But Buxton, 2-go yard. I'm trying to find him on the list here. Plus 320, actually longer odds than Tyler O'Neill tonight.
Great.
So give me Buxton to go yard at plus 320.
All right, give me Mike Trout at plus 250, guys. He's back and he's going bombs away. That's right. I got balls, Steve.
No, that's we're gonna call that a Steve special. Like up there, Mike Trout's like, come on.
It's his first game back since July 12th. No one else is doing this except me.
I'll contact DK Sportsbook and figure that out.
One last thing, just because I know Steve is such a big BVP guy. Byron Buxton, 1,100 OPS career against Martin Perez.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Hey, Daniel, nice addition there. Steve, I don't know if you just saw that. Stevie's special was like popping up on the screen. That was awesome.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I didn't see that. I'll have to go back and see that.
Daniel's good like that. He's quick like that. Makes a lot of fantastic moves. There it is. There it is again. Okay.
So much better than Howie. Howie sucks.
Yeah, I'm out on Howie for work, but I'm in on Howie for outside of work because he's really fun to hang out with, and he likes to have beverages and have a good time.
Yeah, Howie sucks. Howie sucks.
Around DraftKings that just hate beverages.
All right, we got a wrap. Samir has a flight to catch. He's going to be gone for 4 weeks. He's staying in London for like 4 weeks. He wants to see literally everything. It's really weird. Steve Buchanan, love you. LaMarca, it was fantastic being back with you. I hope we do this again soon. DK on the 1s and 2s. You are the man, Daniel. And Samir, safe travels. We love you. Thanks, everybody. Have a safe weekend. I'll be on the Sweat, 11 o'clock Eastern time, Monday morning. I will see you then.